I thought I'd have a little bit of fun right here. Everybody is talking about Austin Matthews. If you want a great video about that, check out my buddy Nyquist. He made an awesome video talking about Austin Matthews and everything that's gone on this season thus far. But I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the guy who is tied for the most points in the league with Austin Matthews. And that player just so happens to be his own teammate, Vancouver native defenseman Morgan Rielly, with the A on his sweater, with 2 goals and 8 assists in 4 games played for 10 total points. Morgan Rielly is tied for the lead in NHL points. 2 points above Tyler Seguin, 2 points above Mitch Marner, 3 points above Alexander Radulov and Johnny Gaudreau and Brad Marchand, tied with the #1 goal scorer in the league, Austin Matthews, for the most points. Morgan Rielly also has the most assists in the league at 8. Is he a Norris caliber defenseman? And I hate, but I love it at the same time, bringing this up, because the Norris does go to the best defenseman in the league, as voted by the Professional Hockey Writers Association. So basically, the big top dogs are the ones who decide the Norris, and they're the ones who vote for it. If Morgan Rielly is able to produce these numbers consistently, let's just say that he'll win it for sure. Let's just establish that. Let's just try to talk about that for a little bit, because the Toronto Maple Leafs, in the 4 games that they've played so far, they've scored 20 total goals. Morgan Rielly was in on 10 of them if you go by points. That's 50% of all the goals the Leafs scored. So if we go over to last season's average, they got themselves 270 goals. If Morgan Rielly continues with that pace, he will be set for 135 points. Plan the parade, everybody. Morgan Rielly is winning the Norris. Just kidding, let's take a step back here. Obviously, the Norris goes to the guy who is the best defenseman, and that is defined differently by different people, but frequently, at least in the past few seasons, it's gone to the guy who's amassed a ton of points. Some of these guys, like Victor Hedman, Burns, and Carlson, all winning the Norris with upwards of up to 60 or even 70 points each. So I think it's kind of fair to establish the idea that the defenseman that gets a ton of points, not necessarily the one that gets the most points, but a D-man who gets a ton of points, is probably going to be the D-man who wins the Norris. This is why a lot of people were talking about Klingberg as a potential Norris winner last season. So, is Morgan Rielly capable of that? Well, if he does continue at this tremendous pace that he's been scoring at, then probably, right? But, obviously, the Leafs are averaging like 5 goals a game, and Morgan Rielly is averaging 2.5 points a game, so things are gonna slow down a little bit, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this team is still just so gifted offensively, and they're so capable offensively too. Rielly, along with the Matthews, Tavares, and Marners of the team, are all getting things done, and this is all without William Nylander. Assuming he comes back, how many more points does that set up for Morgan Rielly and potentially the rest of the forward squad? Overall, Morgan Rielly is proving himself as a Norris caliber defenseman. I'm gonna say that. And it's not because he's been fantastic as a defenseman. Fantastic defensively, better defender than Drew Doughty and Carlson and Burns. He's just been getting a ton of points. And I recognize that it's kind of skewed to look at it that way, but that's just the matter of how it is. I'm not trying to ask you to take a look at this from my perspective or from your perspective. Take a look at this from the voters' perspective. If you had a 90-point Morgan Rielly who had a plus-minus of 0, going up against a Victor Hedman who got 60 points and was a plus 40, who do you think would be voted as the Norris winner? It would probably be the guy with a ton of points. Now, don't get me wrong, though, I do acknowledge that this is not always the case. In 2016, Drew Doughty won the Norris with 51 points and a plus 24, guys like Carlson with 82 points, Burns with 75, Chris Letang with 67, and Roman Josi with 61, all came 2nd to 5th respectively in voting. For all other recent years aside from this one, though, this philosophy still kind of does apply. But, I digress. If he keeps this up, and if he gets upwards of like 80, 90 points, which I don't even want to sit here and condone, that's not what I'm saying here, But if it does happen, then I could totally see him winning that award. Plain and simple. Because that's just how the voters are going to vote for it. The guy who gets a ton of points gets more votes than the guy who doesn't get that many points but who may be a little bit better defensively. And that's basically why people were talking about guys like Klingberg and all that as Norris candidate players. And if Morgan Rielly continues with this pace, where he's at 2.5 points a game, where he contributes to 50% of all the Leafs goals scored, he will be getting upwards of like 150 points, which is terribly unrealistic, but it's just how the numbers work out today. Of course, it's not going to happen like that. He might trail off, max out at 60 plus points, but if Morgan Rielly's getting 60, he's not winning the Norris, I'll tell you that right now. But this was just a short little quick discussion, no real significance to it, I just wanted to ramble, talk about my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick little exhibition of just me spitting, no real valuable information out there. Twitter +/gaming, and bye.